right, so we've got some pretty significant stuff going on here because this is like the first time that there's like direct beef between the old guard in Nancy Pelosi and any of the new, progressive lawmakers from the Justice Democrats. Now, there were some indirect, things that were taken. So, for example, a while ago, I forgot exactly when this was, but Rashida Tlaib basically said that, oh, they just use us for photo ops and then they don't listen to us. Now, it was obvious, anybody with two brain cells to rub together knows that she's talking about Nancy Pelosi. Now, Nancy Pelosi is an old hag who, it really doesn't matter that she's old. That's obviously not the reason why we dislike her. The reason is because her ideology is incredibly outdated, her strategies are horrible, and she's incredibly rich, which is, it is very reflective on her politics. Let's put it that way. It reflects a lot on her politics. But she's an old hag with way too much Botox, and it's time for her to go. It's it. It's time for her to go. She has a challenger who's named Shahid Buttar, so I would go check out his campaign. He is primarying this old hag piece of garbage, and she is horrible. Right now, we've got an incredibly corrupt administration, like literally on a daily basis. And we have absolute weak garbage leadership, if you even want to call it that. Now, AOC got into a bit of a beef with her. So, here's what happened. This is from a Hill article. It says, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, in an interview with the New York Times opinion columnist, said that despite their popularity, progressive Congresswomen AOC, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, and Ayanna Pressley each only get one vote. Pelosi's comment followed a recent split between progressives and moderate Democrats over a $4.6 billion spending package passed by Congress last week aimed at remedying issues at the U.S.-Mexico border. Some progressives opposed the bill. Pelosi told the Times in an interview published Saturday that she believes the four freshman lawmakers made themselves irrelevant by voting against, quote, our bill. Quote, all these people have their public whatever and their Twitter world, she said, but they didn't have any following. There are four people, and that's how many votes they got. The bill passed 305-102, with 95 Democrats voting against it. So she's jealous, is what she is. She's jealous, and she sees them coming, and I think she's scared. She's afraid. She's an old hag, a loser, a piece of shit, piece of garbage with too much Botox, and she sees what AOC is doing, what these progressives are doing, how they actually have the grassroots support and not just straight up support from, mega corporations and things. And I mean, she's rich herself, so she's got her own self-interest to look out for there. But here's what's really interesting about this, is that now the neo-lib shits are gonna have to decide. They're gonna have to take a team in this one. Let's assume this broils a bit more. They're gonna have to take a team in this one because you guys know Nancy Pelosi is loved by the lib cucks. Okay. Remember that time where she did like some clap for Donald Trump and they thought that was some kind of an own of Donald Trump, and it was just so bizarre because it meant literally nothing, and they totally blew it out of proportion to be some like godly act of some sort. It's like cultish, honestly, is what this is. But, what AOC has really dodged doing is getting into any severe disagreements or beefs with any of these, any of the, donut Twitter, the Hill bots, the Nancy Pelosi supporters. She's really dodged that, and she's actually made a really big attempt at not pissing them off and instead actually courting their support. So they're going to have to decide as to who they want to support. But I want to point out that when she said, there are four people and that's how many votes they got, 95 Democrats voted against it. That's not four. So just factually incorrect. So AOC responded to this saying, that public, quote, whatever is called public sentiment, and wielding the power to shift it is how we actually achieve meaningful change in this country. So this is just, it just, again, as you guys know, this is obviously a big, just representation of what we face as being, the progressives in the Democratic Party. We've got the old guard, the, lady with an incredible amount of Botox, really old, really rich. And you've got AOC, fresh young face with fresh young ideas. And, there's a power struggle going on here. And to be quite frank with you, Nancy Pelosi is the worst leadership I've ever seen. She has not been able to do anything to scrutinize Donald Trump, or, scrutinize. I mean, that's, the lightest thing she could do. But to really go after Trump in any way, or really get Trump in any way, she hasn't done jack anything. Literally has done nothing. And it's really it's quite embarrassing, to say the least. And the fact is that AOC is really taking a charge on the issue with the concentration camps at the border, and she's shown more leadership as a freshman congresswoman than Nancy Pelosi has as an old hag who served for a very long time. And it's pretty embarrassing, to say the least, man. Even Nancy Pelosi's comments on impeachment were really, really stupid. It didn't make any sense. Said something about, like, we're going to allow Donald Trump to self-impeach every day by denying subpoenas and stuff. Like, what are you talking about? What does it even mean, self-impeaching? It's not a thing. That doesn't mean anything. Like, she is horrible, dude. She is horrifyingly bad. Seriously, I hate Nancy Pelosi. Really, really a lot. I really hate Nancy Pelosi. And so I'm curious to see where this goes if this kind of beef continues, because trust me, man, this is going to be a significant battle in the Democratic Party. Trust me.